before past, you see deer mounts on people's walls, but some of you might be wondering, what's the process like to get them up there? This morning, Ansley Watson is in Escanaba to tell us more about how they do that. Good morning, Ansley.
Good morning, Vicki. I'm standing in North Country Legends Taxidermy, where in a bit we're going to talk about how you get that trophy buck from the woods onto your wall. It truly is an art and a science. As you can see, Tim is working feverishly over here trying to put this together, and hopefully by the end of our segments this will be almost completed. So I'm really excited to see how it turns out. Stay with us. Reporting live in Escanaba, Ansley Watson, TV6 News.
All right, that is fascinating. Thank you very much, Ansley. As we get ready for the day, I know a lot of hunters are out in the woods. These winds are probably going to impact the hunt a little bit. It's an art form that involves a bit of biology. Today we're learning about taxidermy. So this morning, Ansley Watson is at North Country Legends Taxidermy to learn more about it. Good morning, Ansley.
Good morning, Vicki. You know, I've always wondered how you preserve animals to stick them on your wall. And this morning, we're going to find out how with the taxidermist here, Tim Garinchin. Good morning.
Good morning.
You've been working away on this deer here, and you've gotten really far. We just, at the beginning, we just had a mold, and now we're not almost done, but we're getting close.
We're getting there. We're getting there for sure.
Now, I have to ask, how does one get into taxidermy?
I remember in Boy Scouts, we took a tour of a taxidermy shop that was near our house, and actually then I went to school. I'm actually a licensed professional engineer, and when we had an opportunity to move back to the UP from downstate, I couldn't find a job in that field, so I went to taxidermy school and got into it doing this.
Okay, so tell me the process. Somebody comes in with their deer, or any other animal for that instance. What's the process like?
Typically, the head will come in whole with the antlers attached and the cape behind it. The first thing I do is skin out the head. You can see down, this is all skinned off the skull of the animal. Then what I do is flesh the hide, get it cleaned up really well, salt it so it's dried and preserved, then I send it off to the tannery. Depending on the turnaround time at the tannery, I might see my hides in anywhere from 2 to 5 months or so. Once I get them back, they're turned into leather like this one is. I don't know how well you can see that. But at that point, I'll already have measurements taken off the actual deer for the styrofoam mannequin we saw in the opening shot. And then I just get the hide prepped, sew up any bullet holes, things like that. Put some ear liners in it so the ears hold their shape. Set some eyes like we also saw. Put some hide paste on the form. Slide the hide back on. Set the antlers. Do the ears and the ear butts and tuck everything in around the nose and the eyes and things like that.
How long would you say a typical deer would take you?
This one's going together pretty quick. I did a lot of the prep work yesterday, so that's why this one's going together pretty quick. But it's hours. It takes a little while. Then generally they take probably, depending on the time of the year and the length of the hair, probably 3 to 4 weeks to dry. And then at that point, then I'll come back around and do the finish work around the eyes and epoxy and paint and do the detail work and things like that.
What other animals have you done?
Oh, lots. I mean, I just finished up a safari from South Africa. I've done stuff from New Zealand and all over North America. So quite an assortment.
And then I'm curious with this as well. I know Vicki was asking, can you save the meat from these animals?
Typically not. I mean, if somebody brings me a whole deer, I've done that, skin it out and give it right back to them. But generally, there's not a lot of meat, left with it. Maybe a little bit of the neck once I get it. So generally, no.
And then fish, how about that?
Fish, generally not. I have in a couple cases, but generally not. By the time I get it, they've either been sitting out for a little while or frozen with the intact. So probably generally not a good idea to eat that meat. So.
All right, thanks, Tim. Stay with us. We'll talk more about taxidermy in a little bit. Reporting live in Escanaba, Ansley Watson, TV6 News.
All right, thank you very much, Ansley. And as we get ready for the day,
most people who get that trophy buck want to remember their accomplishment. This morning, Ansley Watson is at North Country Legends Taxidermy, telling us more about it. Now, looks like you're having a good time this morning. Be careful, Ansley. How's it going?
I am being careful. Not too much to worry about here, Sam. It's going really great. We've been working on a deer here. Well, not really me, Tim, the taxidermist husband, and he's doing a great job. It looks like the deer is almost completed. Tim, what have you done so far since the last segment?
I got the ear liners set in the ear butts, set the antlers, just starting to get things more in place, and then I'll start sewing shortly, and then just kind of button up and do a little bit of the detail work. and then come back tomorrow and when it dries up a little bit and finish it.
Now, what all on one of these mounts is real compared to fake?
Generally, only the antlers and the hide are real. Everything else is fake. The eyes are glass. The ear liners are plastic. The body underneath is the urethane foam. So really only the hide and the antlers.
And you were talking to me earlier that you can actually freeze dry animals. What's that process like?
I don't do it in-house. It's something I send out. But if someone wanted, I've gotten a few inquiries over the years of house pets and things like that. And smaller animals generally are more of a candidate for freeze drying than conventional taxidermy.
You're saying house pets. What are some like maybe the most off the wall animals you've gotten in here?
Nothing too crazy. I mean, I've done skunks and porcupines and things like that, but nothing too crazy.
So how is, like, say, a fish different from a deer? I mean, I'm guessing that obviously the anatomy is different. Is there some biology that you have to know about when doing this?
Yeah, when you carve your own bodies for your fish, you need to know, the musculature and where things are supposed to be, things like that. But as far as all animals are generally the same, where you're taking the skin off the real animal, you're making a body that is as close as you can get to the actual real body, sculpting that, and then putting the real skin back over the top of it.
Now, we're looking at an elk right now. This thing is huge. Where is this from?
It's actually a reindeer from Kodiak Island, Alaska.
Okay. And then there's a moose all the way across where I took a picture with. It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful.
Thank you.
What other animals have you done? Do you do like any sort of big cats?
Yep, done some mountain lions, bobcats. I really love doing cats. Someday I hope to be able to do a tiger or African lion. That would be really enjoyable for me.
Have you done a bear?
Oh yeah, yep. Some grizzlies, some brown bears. So.
And then also, it's not just mounting, but you kind of do some like decorations too. How's that like? I mean, in competitions, what are people looking for? They're
looking for things that stand out, that kind of convey a story, something you can look at it and kind of get a sense of what's happening. You're placing the viewer in a moment of time. So that stuff's kind of fun. That's where the artistic side really comes in.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot that people look for when it does come to the competitions, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, it's a lot more in depth. Some of it's a little bit over the top, but yeah, the judges they'll get right inside the ears and inside the nose with flashlights, and it's pretty intense at that point because everything's really got to be pretty tight.
All right, well, thank you, Tim. Reporting live in Escanaba, Ansley Watson. We'll be back with more of your TV6 Morning News after the break.